the Fournier thing was stunning, right? Okay,
Can't
Fournier
figure that
looked.
guy out.
Oh, Fournier looked
No,
like he was.
This was
told you
Orlando
guys-
Fournier.
He started to find that shot in the third quarter.
No, but it
last
wasn't
night.
just the shot; it was the movement. Like he had a couple of he looked. So he, even though he knocked down a shot or two, or he looked a little bit more in rhythm last game, he was in the molasses. He was moving so slowly, and then this game, all of a sudden, he's like just more spry. That drive in the lane and the fake and the crossover and the spin, like just stuff, and just the way he was stepping into the shots, super confidently, sidestep, up fake. I mean, just he looked like he was like 2 months later in his recovery from where he was. The way he was playing, I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna. Bobby, if you saw it, I didn't see it at all.
This was after you guys stepped out. I was trying to do a segment, and Jimmy and Joe Sway were just laughing at me.
Jimmy and Joe Sway should apologize to you.
I'm waiting. Yeah, Joe Sway called out. He was worried.
We did it for the fans. We knew the fans didn't want to listen to Bobby go on about Evan Fournier to end the show.
So we mentioned last
they should
game,
apologize to you.
Grant Williams came in and hit 2 threes in that third quarter or second quarter, somewhere in midpoint of that game. Tremont Waters hit one, but then into that third quarter, you had Fournier hitting, some step back, leaning threes on either side of the court to help get that comeback going as well. And he was on a 5 of 32 stretch, and he finally knocked down a couple shots in a row. He might even hit a third one after that. So that was so important to me, because for a guy that wasn't even close, he was able to string together a couple shots there, and then he brought it into today. 7 straight makes in this one. It was all about shot making, on the ball, off the ball.
Fournier is a guy that I'm getting the sense that he's only going to be adequate defensively when he's making shots. His offense will help his defense. He's one of those guys. This was one of his better defensive games. He made multiple hustle plays on multiple possessions, something we have not seen from him at all. I don't think it's a coincidence that the night where his shot is falling just so happens to be the night where his defense actually looks decent. That I have mixed feelings about that. If he's coming off my bench, which when they're at their hole is where he'll be, you can live with that. But damn, he has to be able to be engaged defensively, regardless of whether he's making shots or not. And that's my concern about him going into the playoffs. When he's making shots, that's great. The team is doing well. Everyone's happy. But that shouldn't be what, frankly, drives your defense. But as it turns out, that's kind of how this team has been without him. Think about Tatum. I mean, think about this team. Their offense, when they're making shots, their defense is so much better. Yet when they're not making shots, their defense most nights is trash.
It's a great point.
Right.
You saw that aggressive steal and finish that was so important in the fourth quarter after all those
Huge
shots
play.
went through for him.
That was a Marcus Smart Cobra Strike sort of moment there from Fournier.
Yeah.
You didn't expect to see that.
I love it. He's a guy that can kind of, depending on how many games Brown and Tatum possibly miss here, lead that offense, take a bunch of shots, play make. You feel a little better about having him in there and looking capable as a mover and as a dribbler and all this different stuff. He just looked good. He looked good in multiple different facets of the offense, which is what stood out to me. He pulled up on some shots, fast break makes, a drive to the lane down the stretch of this one as well. So that's what still is encouraging about him and his fit with this team to me, is that he can get it in a bunch of different ways.
So, Bobby, someone in the chat is asking for you to analyze the defense here. Was this bad defense or good offense in the first half for Portland? I mean, for the Celtics, really all game. 100. So the other team puts 129 spot on you. Yeah, there was defensive breakdowns late that we talked about, but over the course of the game, was this more hot shooting or just simply not challenging the shooters enough?
I think those Nurkic dives bothered them a lot. Yeah. Those were, Thompson had a tough time dealing with those. He's obviously a guy who hasn't contested well on shots above the arc and the pick and pop this year and that kind of stuff, guys bouncing around screens. So that was the first thing. And that's what you saw happen with that Romeo Tatum exchange there. He dove down, took Rob with him. Rob wasn't able to help up top, and those guys got lost. I saw that happening throughout this game. And like you said, this was probably Tristan Thompson's worst game since his comeback from COVID.
Yeah, he was bad.
So he wasn't impacting the ball. I don't think Marcus Smart bothered Damian
Sometimes
Lillard the way he
offensively,
did last time.
Sometimes offensively, Bobby, doesn't he look like he's 6'3" in the lane when he gets the ball and he's like about to go up with it, and you're just like, oh God, don't shoot.
Again, though, I'm more worried about his defense.
Like, oh, come on, little guy, kick it out there. Come on, buddy. Yeah, no, you need him to be competitive defensively. I mean, he had a couple of moments as well, but yeah, that's what rounds out his game. It's just this is a it's obvious, but like I don't understand why anyone passes him the ball. Like he should never be passed the ball, like ever, unless he's completely wide open. These dumps where he has to collect and
He
then
takes a dump off as an isolation opportunity.
and then he starts to do 12 up fakes, and everyone's like, I'm just going to block this,
He kind of reminds me of Perk a little bit, the way he always has to go down.
So Perk would collect and take it low
down
and bring it down. And but with him, he's immediately going into post-up mode instead of just up and out. He can't convert anything. So he should never be passed the ball. He should literally, his only touches should be on offensive boards. I don't know why they give it to him or why he's insistent on trying to generate his own offense. It's really hard for him to, but this game, it was glaring.
It is, and you know, when you look what defenses do when they see the ball going to the post to Tristan, they do the same thing that we're doing. Nothing. They're not going to react. They're not going to double. They're basically, their mindset is, let's think about crashing the glass or get back and run our offense because we're about to get this miss and we're going to be off to the races. He has to be smarter about that, and you're not going to change how he is as a player, but damn. If you have Tatum on the floor, if you have Jalen on the floor, if you've got Fournier making shots, if you get the ball on a block, you want them to be moving so they can get open and you can get them the ball. You shouldn't be thinking about your offense because those guys are better at that than you are. Play your role. Do your job.
Let me throw a quote out at you guys right now. We were talking about Evan Fournier feeling better and starting to get it. Fournier, after the game, asked about how he's responding to the aftermath of COVID. I've been feeling really weird, to be honest. I feel like I have a concussion. I feel a bit better, but it feels like everything is going too fast for me. Sometimes I struggle to focus, and my depth perception is really bad right now.
You see it, all right? Like, that's exactly how he looks.
That's bad.
That would explain a lot.
Very bad.
That's how Bobby just nailed it. That's how he looks out there. All his shots are like coming up short.
I mean, guys,
slow to everything.
It explains what we're seeing, but that raises a million more questions. How long is this going to stay? Is he ever going to get back to Orlando, player that we remember seeing? Or is this – I mean, are the Celtics stuck with some damaged goods now? Is he ever going to be able to really help and contribute the way they thought he could?
I feel like his bald spot has gotten bigger too.
It has. I think he needs to do something about his
shave. Yeah.
Is it possible,
Jimmy? He needs to go all in.
Is that a COVID side effect?
Go all in. Go all in.
He needs to commit to the bald. Sherrod, one day Sherrod was like, I got to do it. And he just went and did it. And you know what? He looks better for it. And Fournier has to do the same thing.
Sometimes you just got to just say, forget the runway. We're just going to go with flat land. Flat land. Let's get away from the runway. Flat land this bad boy.
That's it, man.
It's always commendable when you take that jump.
Or go the other way.
It's hard not to
call
look
Dr.
at it, right?
Leonard. Maybe you should call Dr. Leonard. It's got to be
no, not until we get. You don't mention it until we get a sponsorship. All right, we spoke to those guys.
Yeah.
Okay? Zip it.
Oh well, in that case, yeah.
Zip it. You don't go there.
I never even heard of that.
You don't go there until we send you there. All right.
That's right.
Jimmy putting all these snacks on the air.
Damn, man, no free ads. Damn.
No, Jimmy. Yeah.
Thinking?
Right.
What the hell was I thinking?
Let's think over this.
Maybe he already is a customer. He probably already is. That's why it looks so bad.
Let's think of where this team's at. Kemba Walker's hurt. The Jays are hurt to some degree. Fournier feels like he has a concussion. And Rob and Thompson are kind of out of it right now. There's 7 games left until the playoffs, and there's no momentum going toward it right now at all. In fact, it's just the opposite for this team. I think we've kind of seen the season been written at this point.
There is no such thing as momentum with this team, and there never has been. It is literally one step forward, one step back.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the scary part for me about this team because they have not really put together any kind of flow or rhythm that gives you confidence that they can snap out of this. This isn't like the Lakers last year when they went into the playoffs. They lost 5 of their last 7 regular season games, but you knew that once the playoffs rolled around, they had already – their body had worked out the regular season, gave you confidence that they were going to figure this out. The Celtics, their body of work, no, not so much. They've they have played lately the way they played all season long. 1 minute you are giving them their props and giving them their flowers for an awesome, amazing effort and performance, and then we see this. 18 turnovers, blown opportunities at the rim. And yes, there were some bad calls that went against him, but adversity is part of the game. You know that. They have to figure out how to be, as Brad likes to say, the best version of themselves. Because right now, we don't know what that is. And if we're going by what we've seen, the best version of them is mediocre.
And this
mediocre
is what
basketball.
Sucks. This is what sucks is I was my hope, 10 games or so ago was Fournier gets back from COVID, Romeo's back, plays his way in, Barry, you work him in a little bit, everybody's as fully healthy as they're going to be, and you might actually be as close to, again, we keep using the same expression, the best version of yourselves, but the best version of what this team could possibly be, at least from a health standpoint and from having integrated everybody as much as you possibly could, given the fact that they haven't really played together as a full unit the entire season, and they just can't friggin' do it. The Fournier COVID setback was friggin' huge. Now you got obliques and this shit with the knocking knees now. It's like you can't get out of your own way with this stuff. Can we at least get 2 games where every single person is close to 100% as they could be? Impossible.
And that's the story.
So
that's the story of the
frustrating.
Season. I know we'll look back on this year with a lot of gripes and second guesses of coaching and performance and all this different stuff, but ultimately the big overarching thing was a lack of availability. And then you look at the roster and how it was built, but this level of absence, I don't think any amount of depth would have made up for. I mean, the bench was pretty good today.
They were, and that's the thing. This team fully functional with the bench, if all season long, let's pretend this team was at full health all season.
They never had full health all year.
And they never did. But let's say if they were, then the bench would have played the amount of time that the bench needed to play, and we wouldn't be as mad at them, and there'd be fewer Grant Williams rants and all of this and that. And they would play in roles where they actually would make the most amount of impact. And they would, like I said, the Celtics would walk into a 4 seed without even trying with full health. The reason I think there's so much frustration around this team is you look at them collectively and say there's enough talent on this roster, but there's not enough talent on the court often enough, which has led to probably just simply being effort has led to a ton of losses. Simply just not having enough good basketball players on the court at one time is easily a reason for 5, 6, 7 losses this year, if not more. And that's, you're right. That's a huge part of why they are where they are now in the 7th seed. Now they're in freaking play-in territory. So